team behind them. Because regular college students just jump in there and you're floating in the water. But at least here, we're guiding you and teaching them how to swim, and it's going to be fantastic to push them to a whole new level and let them see that they can do it themselves.
And I've noticed that some of them come in just to get their GED. Once they feel that success and they're passing their test, then they start thinking about taking college classes.
Yeah, and so the thing is, we'll talk about, I believe we talk about it throughout the day, but it's just not even academic class courses. We have continuing education classes that they can also take as well that are a little bit shorter than our academic courses, but actually earning CE coursework can increase your earning wages as well. So we have all types of avenues for the students. So if it's not that, and one of the things that we're looking at is encouraging them to not think about a 2-year program. And we'll talk about that throughout the day, but we're not telling our students who may lack confidence, who may not lack confidence, go into a 2-year degree program. We're saying, hey, we have these stackable credentials for you. You can go into a level 1, see how you do. You never know. You absolutely don't know if you will or won't make it, but at least try. So they gain success in that area, and we say, hey, what you just took, you can further that and go into this next area. And continue your education in that same degree field and make more money. And guess what? Now you only have to finish out your general ed courses, and now you have an associate's degree. So I think it's a lot about how we package it and sell it to our students and presenting the opportunity, because really all it is an opportunity. We're just presenting an opportunity for students. Okay, so let's move on, and I want to show you some of our data from over the last 5 years, so that you can kind of know how we've been doing and what have we been doing for the last 5 years. If that comes back on, did I press the right thing? Okay. And you can kind of see what our program actually has looked like over the last 5 years. We started, Amarillo College received this grant in 2014, and when it says basic L civics, we're talking about coursework that we've actually provided students on how to be a good citizen, or even just citizenship coursework. IET L civics, these are courses that we, IET stands for, well, does anyone in here know what IET stands for? Okay, Jaime?
Integrated Education and Training.
Yes, Integrated Education and Training Programs. And so if you think about it, I always say it's kind of like a career pathway, if you think about it in that regard. Students are in some type of either certificate program, continuing education program, or an associate's degree that they're learning, and they have supports within the classroom. And we have a couple of things that we have to teach our students, and I believe it's workforce training activities. There's 3 different things that we have to teach our students within that course. Our intensive, which is very, very new, and you know we have 2 people in the room right now, Sheila and Cammie, who will be focusing on this group of students. Students who are intensive programs are either students who are actually currently incarcerated or students who have just been recently released. Then we also have our ESL professionals, so 3 different categories that go into intensive. Non-L Civics IET, so it's just a career pathway that's not focusing on an English language learner. It's for a student who is a native English speaker. Non-career advancement, that is literally just our ESL, our base program, our ESL and our GED program. And then I want you to look at how many credentials we have received or helped students receive over the last 4 years. And then here's the piece that we're talking about right now, this matriculation into the college. If you look at it, we have, I don't want to knock us and say we haven't done well, but I feel like we can do better. I absolutely believe that we can do better. And then the folks who have went into the college, we don't have data as far as the completions. This year we will be able to start tracking that. We have partnered or integrated with our, what is his name? Institutional research. His name is Colin Witherspoon. He is making us a dashboard. So a huge factor of us getting that and doing that well will be us getting our students into colleague and getting them a student ID. So the moment that they have that ID, calling our institutional research fellow can track that data for us. So it will show them enrollment into adult education, enrollment into the college, and then completions. And so that's a huge thing that we're focusing on this year, is to actually track that data. And so we don't have unknown there, because I have no idea. I know one fellow for sure who completed his associate's degree. His name is Hector Sanchez, but I couldn't find, we didn't track it well, so I have no idea where we are in any of that. All right, so here is our next activity that I want us to do, and I'm saying that, but I'm thinking we might skip it because we get out at 12. Yeah, I think we're running a little, we're gonna skip this activity because I don't think we have enough time to do it. Sorry. All right, so how can we utilize partnerships to reach the common goal that we have? I want you to know that we have been building relationships and partnerships over the last 5 years. Of course, our adult ed department, us, we, Amarillo College, and then our Workforce Solutions Office as who we're using to actually partner with and utilize these partnerships to meet these goals that TWC is asking us to meet. And then also, sometimes I think as educators, we don't care about goals. We could care less about targets. And I know that to be true, and I get it. But I have to share this information with you because one of the things that I just found out, I was in bed, and I just became the director over the whole program. I've always been the director, well, not always. I was initially the director for over the programmatic side, but I just started receiving information for the budget side. And I was in bed on Saturday. About 3 o'clock in the morning, I just jumped up out of my sleep. And what was in my head was, this is a cost allocation grant, which that I didn't really fully, all I kept saying was, if our students, if we're not meeting targets, funding is not released to us. And so I said, I need for everyone to at least know that. I don't want that to be pressure on you, but you need to fully understand what kind of grant that you're working on so that you understand whenever we're talking about targets, why it's so important to meet those targets. So in order to draw money down, you have the money, it's sitting there, but you can't do anything with it unless you're serving students. Once you're serving the students, then you can draw the money down and people get paid. So I just need you to know that I'm having different things that are going through my head. So I want to share that information with you, not to put pressure on you, but you need to know what kind of grant that you're under. So you're working just as hard as I'm working to make sure that we all get paid and our students, we can continue to serve our students, okay? All right, career pathways. We have Teresa coming up to tell y'all about some of the career pathways. Here you go.
That was awesome. Okay, so career pathways. I had the, I guess you'd call it an opportunity to go to the Career Pathways Institute. I've been to 2 of them now, San Antonio and Dallas. And to me, who knows what a career pathway is, right? Like, it's a great word. It's like, oh, career pathway. What does it mean? A path to a career, maybe? Sure, sounds good, right? But there's so much more to it, like so much research, right? Like helping the students when they're here at orientation, right? Like imagine this is this massive orientation. Or like, hey, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? I need to know now. Make a decision. I mean, no, not really. It's like, hey, tell me, Carol, what do you think you might be interested in? Healthcare? Does blood make you queasy? You know, let's have that conversation early on at orientation to help identify, right, what potential path they could go on, okay? Part 2 of pathways, right, helping the students choose and enter a path. I might want to be a nurse because my grandma was a nurse and my aunt was a nurse, maybe my mom was a nurse, but truly, the thought of like cleaning up vomit, negative, ain't gonna happen, right? Blood, not so much. So perhaps me being a nurse because like 6 people are telling me to be a nurse is not gonna work out for me. You know, I could get there in that career and be like, you know what? I spent like $30,000 getting this degree, and I'm not a fan. You know? So let's explore that early on, right? And then helping students stay on the path, checking in periodically, okay? So you've been here a year. Tell me, you've had several nursing classes, right? And I'm just using healthcare as an example because it's kind of easy to give those examples, if you will, right? How do you feel? You know, does anything make you nervous thus far? Maybe instead of nursing, you're like, you know what, hey, I really like kids, right? I want to be a teacher. Okay, that's cool. Let's change it now instead of you getting in that career, right? And then being like, oh yeah, FYI, I don't want to do this, you know? And then ensuring that students are learning, right? What do we mean by that? We have in-house assessments. We have our in-house midterms, our in-house finals developed. ESL is going the same direction. And making sure, right, that we're not just doing this word vomit, that students are actually getting what we're trying to teach them. Because at the end of the day, what's the point, right? If they're not truly understanding what we're trying to teach them, we fail, you know? So making sure that students are learning. So what goes into all of this, right? Like I said, we're at orientation, 5 seconds later, boom, make your decision. Kind of, sort of, not really, okay? What is the market growth, right? Maybe Aunt Susie said, hey, you know what, I think you'd be a really good person. I think you'd be a good, what's a random career?
A what?
I don't know, something, what's the word?
Salesperson.
Who?
Oh, gosh.
No, something that has no growth.
Video sales.
Yes, you want to open a Blockbuster right now in 2019. Radio Shack, yes. And I'm like, you know what? Have you heard of Netflix? Have you heard of Amazon? Ain't gonna work out now, is it? Right? Why? Because the projected growth is not there. We know it happened to Blockbuster, okay? This thing called Netflix. It's easier, right? Things come in and replace these dinosaurs. We know it happened to Radio Shack, okay? Amazon. I'm sure we all have the Amazon app. It's too easy, right? Versus I gotta go down and talk to Joe. Maybe Joe knows what sort of thing I need. Or I can just search for it on Amazon and not have to deal with a person. Even though I love dealing with people, okay? Living wage. Does it have the potential to earn you a living wage, right? Welding, level 1 certificate. They're making what, like, I make $30 an hour? Is that a fair assessment?
20, 25.
20, 25, okay? CNA, not so much, but CNA has that potential, right, to get up there to make a living wage. And does it stack to a career path, okay? There are some certificates, if you will, that's it, end of the line, right? It's not transferring to another thing, like to a level 2 certificate and so on and so forth. So what we have picked, right, for our students, right, our pathways, if you will, have a living wage. If not immediately, it stacks into one. It has market growth. No more Radio Shacks, okay? Stack to a career pathway, okay? You have the ability to keep on going if that's what you want to do. So, here's the 3 communities that we have picked. Healthcare, for those that are not queasy. I'm kidding, but really, healthcare, okay? Career and technical, our East Campus folks, okay? The welding, HVAC, industrial maintenance, what else? They do stuff with airplanes, drafting, all that good jazz. Business and technology, okay? Admin type things, even looking into computer type systems, okay? It's active. Okay. Where are these courses going? Can I get into that? So, at our orientation, our students are going to pick. Okay, this is for our Amarillo campus. What community do they want to go into? Okay, and we're going to get into this more specifically in the orientation training. But right now, I just want y'all to know, our healthcare folks are going to be at West Campus. Why? because they're gonna be taking their HSE, ESL courses for that initial 8 weeks, right? Instead of them starting, say, here at Community Link, and they'd be like, ooh, fall 2, I gotta go to West. Parking might be kind of hairy. There's gonna be people like wearing scrubs, that might make me nervous. I don't know what building I'm going to. All these things, okay, could create fears to where I don't even wanna go there. So we're gonna put them there. So all of those initial anxieties are gone. Why? Because you've already been there for 8 weeks. And when they come for their second 8 weeks, okay, they're already in that same group of students, okay? And they're just moving over to the academic courses. So they know parking, right? Is it gonna be hairy? Is it not? They already know that. I mean, we know at East it's gonna be great, okay? So same thing there. They're gonna know, well, it takes me a couple more minutes to get out to East. So when I'm taking those credit courses, I already know that. And then for our folks, for our business and technology, they stay here on the Washington campus. So they're gonna know, right? Parking's already hairy. I need to get there quite a bit early. I know what building I'm gonna be in. And that same group of students that they already fostered that community with, for the first 8 weeks, they're just moving on over to the credit course side. Is it to the west side, to the east side? What is that song? Moving up to the west side, east side? Whatever, sorry, I think anybody know about it. Anyway, so they're moving on over, right, to that credit course side. Okay, any initial questions? Yes, ma'am.
Will students at Dumas and Hereford need to come to Amarillo to
No,
participate?
we're identifying what particular career pathway will be at the Hereford and Dumas sites. Okay, still working that through though. Okay. You want to take over?
All right, so we're gonna, we have 2 visitors. Thank you guys for coming. So we have Dr. Russell Larry Hart, the president of Amarillo College, and Dr. Tamara Clunis, the vice president of academic affairs. They're coming. Oh, and there's Denise. Come and say hello.
So the exciting thing when you look at the labor market growth and the campuses associated with them in the fall, any student or faculty or staff can use the city transportation for free, and the city is changing their routes and they will deliver students to each one of those 3 campuses. That's a big, big shift. So I think that can be really helpful. I don't know if you, I don't normally like to admit that I read the USA Today, but I read it this morning. And in the paper, they identified the top 10 cities in the country who've had the largest drop in income. And Amarillo is in the top 10.
Oh my goodness.
And it's because we have an explosion of low-skill manual labor jobs, and because we don't have a workforce that has the credentials to attract a higher paying job, we're mired in the lowest level of pay that our community supports. And that is why the work that you're undergoing and the reformation that you're envisioning is critical, not just to the college, but saving our community from itself. They need the foundational skills that you're going to provide, but they have to lead to credentials that lead to a living wage, not just for their own survival, but for the survival of our community. So I know anytime we start thinking about how we do our work differently, it's important, but it's also scary. In this case, you're wearing the burden not just of the college, you're wearing the burden of our community. But as I've told the mayor and I've told our Economic Development Corporation team, I can't imagine a group of people that I would trust more with our most vulnerable citizens to get them to a credential that leads to a living wage than the people sitting in this room, because I know who you are, I know how you care, and I know how you love students to success every day. What our college and community needs from you now is to love those students to the next level of success. It can't just be about foundational skills. It's got to be about these workforce, labor market skills. Because the reality is, if we can't get more of our students to the labor market with a certificate or a degree, it's going to start affecting our own living wages. And that's what scares me the most. It's not just about solving the issue for the lowest level, if we can't solve it for those that are in the most financial stress, then it starts to impact every other level of finance in our community, and we need to avoid that at all costs. And you're the front line of that. If we can't figure it out in this room and this college, then our community is going to suffer. And it's why the mayor stood in front of a group of people last week or the week before last and said Amarillo is only as strong as its college. And it's why I'm standing in front of you saying Amarillo's college is only as strong as your willingness and ability to love our most vulnerable students to success. So thank you for the work that you're doing today and what you're going to be doing over the next 2 or 3 years. It's foundational, and I'm really appreciative of it. Thank you all.
So good morning. So I think it's good morning. So this is a big deal. I can't say enough about how important what you're doing and what you're embarking on. And I know that it's never been done here before, but Amarillo College has always been about blazing trails. And let me be clear, it hasn't been done here, but it's been done in other states, and it has been done for a long time. But in Texas, we're trailblazers, okay? So in Texas, we're leading out. We always have been at the forefront. We're always trying to stay ahead. And then we want to make sure that, as Dr. Lowry Hart said, that we are preparing our students for the jobs. Then what we're doing right now has to happen. And I know that your work is going to dramatically change, but here's what's important to me. If you have any reservations about what you're about to embark on, you need to come and talk to me personally. You want to know why? Because when you start your class with your students, I need you to be your most authentic self in communicating this. Because if you're faking it, it's going to come across, and students are going to know, right? It's heartbreaking to pass by classrooms where an instructor says, well, they're telling me I have to do this, but I need to make sure that you got any buts in your mind about this. You need to come to the second floor of the Ware building, and you need to see me. Or you can call me on my cell phone. Everybody get a pen so you can write down my number. My cell phone number is 512. I still have my Austin phone number. 512 area code 659-1167. And I am so serious when I say, if by the time you're done with this training, you still have questions, or you still need some convincing about why this is important, please call me. Please, I'm begging you to call me, because I do not want the students to come onto campus when this is the most exciting, transformational thing that has happened to adult education at Amarillo College, and for them to encounter staff who don't believe it, okay? I'm just being straight with you. I need you to believe it. If we need to get a baptismal pool, whatever I have to do, I need you to really understand how terribly serious it is what we're talking about, okay? And so there's just a level of passion around it. My son is 20 years old. He's finished a year in Amarillo College, and he got ill, and I said, well, you can go ahead and just work. And I was like, child, with these paychecks, you're going to be living here for the rest of your life. You got to get back into school, okay? Because you're not going to be living off of it. I mean, the level of wage that they're offering our young people, they cannot support themselves. They cannot support themselves. So he will be back in school in the fall. So I'm just saying, and so when I saw his pay, I was like, Lord have mercy, how little they're paying, okay? Not even $9 an hour. You cannot even get an apartment, you know, with that kind of stuff. And so, and he's 20, he's fortunate. We have adults who have children and families, and these are the wages that they have, okay? So people are trying to piece together this part-time life with 2 and 3 part-time jobs, but you are their ticket out of that to regular wage, you know, full-time sustainable employment. So I'm just excited about it. I hope that you get excited about it. It's going to be a change, but you're well able to do it. You've got the right leadership in front of you to help you to do it. If there's anything I can do, but I want to avail myself to deal with any concerns.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right. right, so we have about 30 minutes left, and I don't think we have enough time to do this one. But what I do want you to do is in your packet, I do want you guys to at least learn about the 5 pillars that we've been structuring ourselves around. These 5 pillars that we've been structuring ourselves around for the last 2 years, they actually promote change, growth, and stability. We have been a part of the Texas Peer Mentor Network for the last 2 years, and actually it's been Janice and I. Janice is here on the front row. We have been mentoring and learning from and with other community colleges. I think we were up to 12 or 11.
Total of 12.
12 colleges all together, and we were learning from and with each other. And this was our core that we actually built our network on, were these 5 tenets. So take your time and look through these. You'll have them, so you can always reference them back. Now let's go into Career Ready U. One of the things that is cool about Career Ready U is we don't have to go and find students. We actually have them, and they're called low-hanging fruit. And a lot of the many of the students that we're serving, the ones that we will be pushing into this program and encouraging them to go into Career Ready U, will be our students who are high ESL learners, so around NRS level 6, our re-entry students, L Civics IET students, and those are still some of our higher ones that we have. And then we have HSC NRS level 5, 6, but honestly, we're not going to prevent our students from moving forward because we have a lot of different services that will be support services. Edie mentioned today about PASS. What is PASS? Plan for Achieving Student Success. We will have instructors either embedded inside of the classrooms, which many of you will be doing IBEST now, alongside of teaching your base level coursework, or we will have some type of tutoring services that our students can actually go to here on each of the campuses. So we've always looked like a linear model, and this is what we're actually going to look like now, and you have a visual of this in your packet as well. Our students will come in, and during orientation, they will declare one of the 3 majors that are communities that we have, we're gonna focus on this year. I have people who have said to me,